Basically, it was all started on Twitter, sending out the notes to people about volunteering, and also donations and that type of stuff. And it's really kind of interesting because it's not just Twestival, but there's another one called Tweetsgiving. That was Thanksgiving last year that some people were basically trying to donate or get people to give to other people and used Twitter to kind of spread the word. And also the scheduled tweet-ups, which we'll kind of talk about also. A lot of times when you're on Twitter out there, you can find people are scheduling just get-togethers. There's a group I know that every month they get together and just bowl. They talk about bowling, and everybody gets together and say, okay, I'll be there at this certain place, and everybody that wants to get together just kind of talks on Twitter about getting it. So there's a lot of that type of things called tweet-ups. I know there's also one I'll tell you about at the end here. That's actually going to be tomorrow night, so it's just perfect timing. So if you have interest in that type of thing.
So Nick, after tonight, when you set up your @MCGinfo handle, you're going to send all of us an email so we can connect to you and find out about jobs that you have available, right?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
That's a great way to do it. I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. That type of thing I've seen that.
Does everybody mind if I give our email addresses to Nick if you're looking for jobs, whatever?
No problem. Just link in with me.
Okay. All right.
Good deal. So how do you kind of get started on Twitter? I don't want to touch because it might just, if I go out to the live site, who knows what could happen. But basically, I'll kind of give you a rundown here. And also, I have these slides afterwards. I'm going to try to put them out there to a site called SlideShare, so you can go out there and get those if you want and go through that type of information.
And email them to me, too?
Yeah, absolutely. Whoever wants it, I can send an email to them. Basically, you would go to twitter.com and click sign up now. Pretty simple and easy out there. You can set up your username. Whatever username you use, you could use your real name. You could use any kind of nickname you might have. Maybe it's your company name. Basically, that's going to be the name that everybody's going to see when you send out notes to other people. A lot of times people will go on their profile and upload a photograph of themselves. A lot of times people like to see who's behind these tweets that are being sent out, or if it's a company, maybe it's a company logo or that type of thing. You can also add a URL out there. For example, if you have a website, or I have mine, it's going to the LinkedIn URL so people can learn more about me. And also you can have a short information about basically your location and also a bio about yourself. For example, you have about 140 characters, just put in there about a little bit about yourself. Maybe you want to talk about interests, or maybe if you're a fan of certain teams, that type of stuff, and just add a little personality to it. Because that a lot of people, when they get out there to see if they want to follow somebody, a lot of times they'll look at their bio and see if it's something that they really can be attached to and want to learn more about. And they'll also look at the tweets, so it's kind of good to have that personalization out there. So what should you write about on Twitter? A lot of times, Kellen, when I first started out there, I was reading what other people were tweeting out there, what they're basically were talking about, just to kind of observe and see, maybe there are certain things that you can talk about. So that's one way, is kind of observing and listening to what other people are reading, what other people are talking about. And if there's, for example, is it Midwest Consulting? Yeah. For example, in your case, you could also send out links to maybe news or information or job postings, that type of stuff. And basically, if it's blog posts, you can send it out there. A lot of people can click on those links and find out information and click to follow you if they're interested in that type of stuff. Maybe you want to tell people what you're doing during the day. I mean, when Twitter first started, it started back in 2006. So it's in the last 3 years or so, it's really shot up as far as the usage. But a lot of people, when they first started doing that, then they would say maybe I'm having a cheese sandwich for lunch, or that type of stuff. I mean, pretty simple stuff. And you could use it that way if you want. A lot of people, if they're getting used to it, sometimes they'll put on there what they're doing, or maybe they're mowing the yard or something like that. So, and it's interesting because a lot of people are like, well, why would somebody have an interest in that? But sometimes, really, a lot of people like to know what other people are kind of doing sometimes if they want to learn about that. So it's kind of that social type of connection that Twitter is really, one reason why it's really kind of taken off, is just that connection that you can have with somebody and kind of learn about their life as they send out notes. And it's kind of an interesting, all of us kind of like to connect with other people, so it's kind of a unique way to do that. rule of thumb, I guess, is don't spam people. Sometimes you get there's actually quite a few spammers out there where they send out links or some crazy messages. Like one I've seen lately is people are saying, learn how to make your yellow teeth white or something. I mean, it's some crazy tweets and stuff like that. There's actually spammers, and a lot of times you'll see that. And by the way, I don't know how you do that, so because I haven't clicked on anything like that. But so basically, you know, you kind of be careful with what you send out there, and you know, contact some people that are close to you and find out they're on Twitter. Twitter also, when you get out there, you can also use a couple different applications that you can search, like your Hotmail and Gmail account, and see, and it brings up anybody that might be out there on Twitter. Also, real quick, I guess I haven't talked about it too. There's a lot of apps out there that you can use, third-party applications. One example is called TweetDeck, and what it basically is, it's an application that pulls in your Twitter handle and all your tweets, and you can set up different groups. For example, if there's one group you want to follow, like I have a Kansas City group, which is just people in the Kansas City area, and I just follow what they're talking about, and I have another one that's just careers, another one that's just people. I used to work at John Deere, so I was always following people in the agricultural role. So that was another one that I used to follow up. So you can set up groups and that type of stuff. So there's a lot of different ways. Also, after we're done here too, if anybody has an interest too, there's a couple really useful guides that I have too that I can send out to people to kind of follow through how to use the Twitter itself and how to do the retweets and that type of stuff. Yep.
Kind of a weird question. I don't want to steal your thunder if you're going to talk about it, but are you going to talk about the third-party apps that you can download, like they have PHP apps or Java apps or Perl apps, that instead of having to go to the browser and log into Twitter to send a tweet or download a tweet, you can just run them natively right on your desktop? Are you going to talk about any of those? Or
that's kind of what I was talking about, the TweetDeck and all those type of things. I didn't have it down on here. That was one that I missed, but there is, you know, I can find a list too. People are interested in send it to you as far as a list of applications you can find to do that type of thing.
One I find handy, Mark, is ping.fm.
Ping.fm?
Yeah,
sure.
And that allows you to pull in Facebook, LinkedIn, or any of the other places, and you do one tweet, and it goes to everything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's free, you just sign up for it.
That's a really good point, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Also, I think a friend feed too is kind of like that, where you can put one note and it goes out to your Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter type of
friend feed?
Yeah, friend feed. But yeah, that's a good point. There is a lot of different ones. Like there's another one I have called Twirl. Yeah, all of them kind of have this TW whatever at the end. It seems
strange how that works.
Yeah, it really is interesting. Wonder how they got that idea. But so they basically have all these different apps, and if you have interest in that type of stuff, you know, let me know, and I'll have my contact information at the end here that I can send some information to you to help you out with that. How to connect with others. I see I have it kind of sit on there twice, but basically contact closest people that find out they're on Twitter. Another thing that just came out, in fact it just came out on my Twitter page now, they're starting to slowly send it out. About 25% of the Twitter users have this now. It's called lists. And basically what it is you can go out there and create lists of people that you want to follow, just specific lists where other people